Hello everyone, I hope this video finds you doing well. Today, as I unbox and explore new paints kindly sent to me by Paul Rubens, I will talk about what art does for me and can do for you when it comes to mental health, happiness, acceptance, relief, and also discovering new traits of oneself that can help us appreciate who we are, because it's something that is quite rare, even when we don't realise it. And it makes me sad to think many of us could be living more fulfilling lives, but aren't because we are holding our own selves back in so many ways. Before I go deeper into this topic, let me take a moment to say what I'm doing here, because we all love a good art supply. Over the past few years, the level of Paul Rubens watercolours has really become exquisite. You will find other art channels saying the same. I incidentally came across a video by the amazing Niaz Hanan watercolours just a day or two ago, commenting on how great this very palette is. However, what grabbed my attention immediately in this palette were colours I don't usually reach for, and that is the lovely pastels I swatched here. So I decided to create a mini palette just with these colours in it and enjoy a little exploration into this candy floss world. So that's what you'll see me do in this video while I chat about mental well-being. Of people cover topics like art therapy, and I am no expert. Also, I don't want to parrot someone else's words and say things that have been said a million times. So I will literally talk from my own personal experience, and I will start by saying that I have been using different sketchbooks. You might know this if you're a returning watcher of my videos. I have more messy and raw sketchbooks, while before I only used to work in polished watercolour sketchbooks where the pressure was on because they can be quite expensive and the paper can be quite fragile and precious. Well, it's when I introduced the messy sketchbooks that something shifted. My approach itself became less fearful because I was never going to showcase these anyway, or anywhere. I do actually show them now quite often, but I wasn't thinking about that when I started. And I was thinking to myself just the other day, while I was leafing through one of them, how happy I was while I was working in the sketchbook every day. It was a happy time in my life. I wasn't worrying about anything, so I was sketching with enthusiasm daily. And then I thought, wait a second, it wasn't that I was happy, hence I was sketching or painting in the messy sketchbooks. It was the sketchbooks that made me happy, that balanced out my emotions and, unknowingly to me, made me make sense of things. I realised that very simply because when I even look at one of these sketchbooks sitting on my desk or on the sofa or on the floor, I feel something like affection. I feel what I now have learnt to recognise as a dopamine boost. I struggle with ADHD, racing thoughts, never being in the present, but either stuck in the past or projected into the future, which some of you will probably know is a very unpleasant way to live. But the sketchbooks pull me down back to earth and to the present moment like an anchor. They are like reassuring companions that force you to sit in the moment and document your feelings, especially if you are someone who finds it hard to express their emotions verbally. Working in a sketchbook, even in a scribble or scribbles and swatches and playful stick drawings, you don't have to be Leonardo da Vinci, allows you to get things out of your worried little heart and onto paper, and you don't have to think about them. Because the problem with me is that since I already think about them a lot, I really don't want to have to write about them too, and in some cases feel worse. I find it really hard to journal. I know some people swear by it, but I struggle with it. So the sketchbook allows those of us who really can't face digging up more stuff because it almost turns into brooding or another cycle of worrying. Well, that is where the sketchbook really will become your place of comfort and solace. It doesn't ask anything of you. It doesn't demand you even think, actually. I think it empties the mind, but at the same time, it still brings focus and allows you to slow down. And as you continue in your practice and make it part of your day, you will find yourself in a better place if you just give it a chance. It won't happen overnight, and you might initially still have the wrong approach where you're trying to produce art that is worthy of being shown. This is for you, it's not for anyone else. Think of it as a need, not a task. Like you need to drink a certain amount of water every day or get up off the couch after a few hours. These are just things you have to do. And if you see sketchbooking that way too, it will definitely become easier to show up to it and in a more relaxed way. I think you really end up not making art if you don't really let go. You're just putting yourself under more pressure when there's already a lot of pressure in your life, a lot of stress, and art is not serving its purpose for you, and you're not showing up to it with the right attitude, with the right mentality, which is one of total and utter relaxation and joy. So ban expectations from your art making process. Be messy, be playful, scribbly, splotches of paint, that's what you want to see. That's how you start out. And let it unravel, just let it go how it must. There's no route that you have to follow, there's no path, there are no rules, there's just pure expression and enjoyment. And there's nothing more precious you can get from art than benefiting from just sitting down and connecting with yourself, with the page, the eye to hand motion, and really turning this into a form of socializing or active meditation. One or the other, I think they're both great. So these are my approaches to art, and they have become more so in recent months as I've stepped away from the need to feel like I had to create a polished and perfect piece of art every single time I showed up at my workspace. So that's why I'm coming to you today, hoping that I'll save you precious time. Just enjoy it. Just really enjoy it as if you were a 5-year-old kid with a crayon. That's the attitude. That's totally the attitude. I hope that helps. It's easy to say, I know, and it's not so easy to actually not feel like you're showcasing something, even if you're not showing it to anyone. And then I used some mud from my palette to just add a little bit of darker value because I was getting a bit frustrated, but that's what it is. I didn't want to not commit. But yeah, I don't think this is too much cheating, just mud. Of course, I have to say, what you see me doing here is paint in a watercolour sketchbook, so it's not my messy, raw work. I've shown that in other videos. However, I am leaning into a more relaxed use of these etcher sketchbooks, which are the ones with the thinner paper and a little more affordable. I've realised I wasn't using them as much as I wanted to, so I have given myself permission to sketch on them directly, which I rarely do, and to use an eraser, even if it might damage the paper. What good is undamaged paper anyway if it remains unused? I used to think of myself as a painter or someone who made standalone paintings, but today I consider myself a sketchbook artist, and of course some of the ideas that come to life in here will still become paintings. But my love, my home is in the sketchbooks, and I really am so grateful for them. I love watching art channels on YouTube, and there are some that show very simple, colourful and playful art, more like storybook art. Art I used to consider less adult. I don't know if that's the right word. The kind that professors in art school would probably frown upon. And let them frown is what I think, because to me that is becoming the doorway into having fun and really pouring myself into a world that page after page is becoming a magical experience, a documentation of my life. My confidence grows as I use my fine motor skills daily. The sketchbook practice will show you a style eventually. It will show you where you want to go. More than 1,000 finished and polished drawings or paintings ever will. I carry it in my bag or purse because it radiates warmth and makes me feel safe. It grounds me throughout my days, even when I'm not using it. Just knowing it's there. I have seen people use their sketchbooks just to create colour palettes or patterns, and I think that is a wonderful idea for those of us who are more hesitant to start or to use it in a consistent manner. I mentioned earlier that sketchbooks are also a form of social connection. They can be. If you're lucky enough to have a group of people who share this passion, you can go to cafes or go out in nature to paint together. Unfortunately, I don't have that, but I am so very lucky to have found some amazing friends in my online community on Patreon. This month we are 100% leaning into the topic of this video because we are intentionally making messy art using crayons, new colours and coloured pencils and watercolour and markers, just going all in. And I will leave the link in the description box below the video if you're interested. I'm grateful for our community because it really helps me to show up every Tuesday in our co-sketching sessions or in our painting sessions. I think we are all converted to sketchbooks now. I love watching the sketchbook shares. For those who feel like sharing, there is no obligation, of course, to do that. It's a very precious time. It's a healing time. Or a space to chat about art supplies while we make messy, colourful art without pressure. I hope this video was helpful or comforting to at least some of you. As always, thank you for being here, and I will see you all next Sunday or in our next sketching session. Bye for now.